Do you spend too much of your time on superficial busy work? Odds are, if you're like most of us, the answer is yes. But what if there is a way to eliminate those dull, repetitive tasks to focus your time on more meaningful work? The secret lies with automation. Today, we'll be talking with Jotform's founder and CEO, Aytekin Tank, about his upcoming book, Automate Your Busywork, to learn more about his time-saving philosophy. Welcome to Momentum, a podcast by Jotform, where we talk about the technology, productivity tips, insights, and best practices that help us move forward in business and in life. Let's get started.
3, 2, 1, liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Maintaining momentum.
All right, welcome everybody to an exciting episode of Momentum. Today we're talking to Jotform's founder and CEO Aytekin Tank for the third time on the show. Welcome back, Aytekin.
Good to be back in this show. I love this show.
It's great to have you. This conversation is going to be a little bit different than conversations we've had before because this episode is to talk about your upcoming book, Automate Your Busywork, which is available May 16. Do you want to talk a little bit about it and just dive right into what this book is about?
Sure. So I want to tell you the story of this book from the start. Right out of college, I started working as a programmer for an internet company. And I was doing a lot of things and I enjoyed my work. But there was this one particular task that I didn't enjoy much. And that was creating online forms. Like, it was a repetitive, tedious task. I didn't particularly enjoy it. So I tried to find a way to automate it. I couldn't find a good way. So I decided, okay, hey, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to actually do this. Like, this is going to be my product. Like, I was in my 20s at that time. I didn't know what I was doing. And I did it. I dived right in. But it turned out that a lot of people needed help with forms. So my product started becoming successful and my company started growing. I hired my first employees. So it was going well, but around the time, like, I had like 5 employees and, you know, things were going well, but I was also kind of too busy. Like, I was spending all my time with so many different tasks. Like, I was a business owner. I was doing accounting. I was doing, like, you know, ordering snacks for the office. I was responsible for the product development. I was, you know, doing HR and, you know, everything and emails. Like, I was spending my whole day answering emails. I love spending time with customers, but it was like from morning to night, I was just constantly talking to customers, and I had no time to actually think about the big stuff. Like, I had no time to improve my product, make it much better, and, you know, think about like big plans and all that. Like, I was just constantly busy. So yeah, things weren't that very good at that time. And then I had a friend that emailed me and he said, hey, did you see that? Google has just came out with a forms product. Like, you're now competing with Google. And I was like devastated. I was like, hey, what am I gonna do? Like, this is terrible. Like, I'm competing with a giant, and I'm this small company with 5 employees. What am I gonna do? Like, right. And it took me a couple of days to think about it, and I thought, okay, here's a product that automates forms, and since I started Jotform, I've been helping like hundreds of customers automate their businesses, and it wasn't just forms, because forms are just starting point of these business processes, these workflows. So it starts with a form. For example, you apply for something, fill in a form, or you contact someone to request something. So it starts with a form. The first step is the form, but after that, there are like multiple steps. Like, you know, we automatically generate customized emails. Like, the forms are changing on the fly. And we generate documents from the data coming from the forms. We send the form data to somewhere else. So I've been helping all these businesses automate their work while I have been not applying the same principle to my own business. Like, I've been doing like manual work for everything. And I was helping them, but I wasn't helping myself. So I decided, okay, I'm going to apply my own medicine to myself, and I'm going to start thinking like I'm a customer, like I'm helping myself. And that's what I did. I started automating everything. I started with emails. Like emails were terrible. Like I was spending my whole day inside emails, like, swimming in the pool of emails. And there was no prioritization. There was no inbox zero. There was no automated filters. Like it was all sea of emails. And I spent some time, I automated my emails. Like I set up like all these filters, created these inboxes, started applying inbox zero, and I did lots of other things. And I was able to reduce the time I spent with emails to like a couple of hours a day at max. And that really helped. And then I applied the same ideas to my other parts of my business. For example, the product development. I streamlined the product development in our company. And our bug ticketing system, to how we support people and how we order snacks at the office, how we do accounting, all those things I started automating. And I also started teaching all these techniques to my employees, and it made a huge difference. Like my company, my small company started becoming more and more successful because we were able to actually instead of like spend all of our time doing the same things, we were able to actually improve our product and make it much better. And then more and more people came to Jotform, and millions of people started using Jotform. And today, Jotform is a much more successful business with 500 employees and millions of users. And it's all thanks to these automation ideas. And I want to share these ideas. Like I've been applying these techniques to our company and to our product, so that people can automate their work and save time. But I wanted to write a book because just writing some articles, and I've been writing a lot, is not enough. So I needed to write a book about this topic, and that's how I decided to write this book. And it took me more than a year. It wasn't easy, and it's my first published book. Like I have some ebooks, but this is my first published book. But it's good. It's really good, and it really turned out to be the book that I wanted to write, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's funny taking you over a year at it. I guess one of the things that you can't automate is actually writing a book, right? You actually have to do that. But it's really cool to hear. You've lived this. Automate Your Busywork isn't just knowledge you're preaching. It's knowledge that you've lived, and you've been able to transform your own life and business through these principles, which obviously makes it a really powerful firsthand account. And even the small things, like you mentioned, like the emails, even ordering snacks, these things add up, the manual tasks and processes. And so being able to find a way to automate those frees up time to focus on the more important work, the meaningful work that can really make a difference. You mentioned before that you had some articles and other places that you were published. For those who might not know, have you authored anything before? Have you been published in many places, or is this really a first venture for you?
Sure. I've written some ebooks, and people can find them at aytekintank.com. So I now have my personal website, and I list all these books, and people can go there and read these books for free. So one of them is there's a no-code book. It's about how people can use no-code, and I also talk about no-code in this book as well. But this ebook is about no-code, how they can use these no-code products, and what they can do with them. And the other book is my story. It's my bootstrapping story, like how I founded Jotform and brought it to today. And it's a story of my bootstrapping story, and those are all available on my personal website, aytekintank.com. There are also, like, I still continue to write blog posts. I write on entrepreneur Fast Company, Medium, and our own Jotform blog. I continue to write about various topics like startups and productivity and automation.
Great. We'll be sure to link to all these resources in the description for those who are interested. But yes, this is your first full-length, like full dive into a full book release, which is really exciting. So you touched on it a little bit in your initial answer, but like, what really inspired you to do this? Like, why write a book? Because you probably could have collected all this knowledge, yeah, in shorter ebooks or articles, but why write a comprehensive book? What inspired this?
So I mentioned how I started Jotform 17 years ago, and how it was all about automation. So I've been helping people, our customers, with automations, and I've been applying all these principles within our products, within Jotform's products. And Jotform has a lot of automation features like document generation and all these customization features. But I've also been seeing people struggle. There is this big AI revolution going on. Everyone is talking about ChatGPT, OpenAI, self-driving cars, and people are seeing these automations and AI everywhere. But it's kind of like they are in the middle of this ocean, but they are dying from thirst. Like, they can see all these AI and automations, like they can do everything, but in their work, they are so busy, like they have no time to do their work. So the problem is that most people actually don't know how to use these automation products, how to use automation in their own work. So I wanted to write a book that describes how to do that. And I have this framework I call Automation Flywheel, and I describe how to use this Automation Flywheel to be able to, like, it's a guide. This book is a guide that describes, like, step by step what you need to do to become, turn your busy work into automations. And so the inspiration came from people not being able to watching people, like seeing people how busy they are, and deciding I cannot just do this with just an article. Like, even a series of articles, I have to write a book, and I have to, like, provide a guide, like step-by-step guide, like with each chapter describing, like, the next step they need to take, and give details and examples and case studies. And the only way to do that was to write a book. And thanks to Wiley and their editors have been really good. This book turned out to be such a great book, and I'm really excited about it.
It's a fantastic read. I couldn't agree more. I love the quote that you just said. We're in the middle of the ocean of automation, yet many of us are dying from thirst because we haven't been able to apply automation to ourselves. Like, it's great. Oh, OpenAI, ChatGPT, wonderful. But how do we apply that to ourselves to automate the little things in our day in, day out lives that can make a difference and free us up to focus on other things? Would now be a good time to talk a little bit about that automation flywheel that you just mentioned?
Sure. So over the years, I developed this framework, Automation Flywheel, because I needed to teach my employees how to do a better job at automating our business. So I didn't want to just do the person who is doing all the automations. Like, I wanted to share this knowledge with my employees, and then now I'm sharing it with the world. So I'm really excited about it. But basically, Automation Flywheel is a process of improvement. So you take your busy work and you divide and conquer it into workflows. And then you take these workflows and you design and implement automations. And these automations turn into systems that can be refined and iterated. So it's a process of continuous improvement. It's not just it's not something linear. It's a circle of improvement. And in this book, I describe exactly what to do in each step. For example, how do you divide and conquer your busy work into workflows? So you create workflow diagrams, and in this book, I teach you how to do those diagrams, how to make workflows, and you don't want to make too big workflows, but you want to have like multiple workflows, and they become systems. And you don't want to do the whole automation at once. You want to go piece by piece, because it's just as you create more and more automations, you need to monitor them, you need to refine and iterate them. So it takes a while. It's harder to describe, but you have to read the book and apply it to your busy work, and gradually you will see the results. And Automation Flywheel is really going to help a lot of people thanks to this book, hopefully. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we won't dive into everything here. That's what the book is for. But that's a great overview. And even in reading through it myself, it makes so much sense the way that you break it out and the way that you present it and how one step follows the next. And it just kind of remarkable to me that I haven't seen something like that. Like the Automation Flywheel, now that I've seen it, it seems very logical, but I haven't seen anything like it anywhere else. And I'm like, why not? I don't know. It's a powerful thing that you tapped into. And, like we said earlier, you've lived this yourself. So who better to preach this? Let's step back just a little bit, since, we're talking about book and publishing and all that. I'm just kind of curious, are you a big reader yourself? Are there other books you'd recommend that have inspired you along the way?
Yeah, I love to read, and I'm actually a slow reader. I'm not, I love reading books slowly. Like I take my time, and when I'm reading book, I will just start thinking about other things, and I enjoy reading books and take my time to learn from them. There's one particular book that I really like a lot, and I think it's the companion book to my book, and that's System Thinking by Donella Meadows. And this book describes how systems work, and feedback loops, and how systems behave like differently, and how you can actually use this system knowledge to make a change in the world. And it's a great book. And if you read this book, it's actually a great companion to my book, and you're going to learn a lot from this book as well.
Great. I like the perspective of reading slow, first and foremost, what you mentioned with, because I don't think that's talked about enough. I think people can almost brag about how fast they get through books, but I love that you just came right out and said, I'm a slow reader. I like to take my time and understand. I don't feel like that is a commonly appreciated enough perspective, because I think there's something behind that. But system thinking, that's great. We'll also link that in the description, most likely. Sister book to Automate Your Busywork, as you just mentioned. And why is automation, I guess just to back up and think broadly, why this topic in particular, even within the parameters or outside the parameters of the book, why is automation so important, if you could summarize that?
So when I talk to people, I don't know many people who just come to me and say, hey, I have so much time. Like I am spending all my day like just, watching TV and, lying around, and like everybody I talk to, they tell me that, yeah, I'm so busy, like I'm out of time, like I cannot do anything. Like I look at my kids, like they're, so I have 3 kids, they're 8 and 6 and just a newborn. But I look at my, bigger kids, 8 and 6-year-olds. They're also so busy. Like, they have homeworks.
Happens right away.
Like, they have Nintendo games to play. Like, they even watch their like YouTube videos to, learn the tricks. And like everybody is so busy. And we were just talking about the books. There's a book called Shadow Work, and in that book, it's described like how all these like SaaS services are taking over the world, and everybody is like, I have to do so much research. Like in the past, like you had to, like you would just go to a travel agency and you would just say, hey, I want to go to a warm place. And then the travel agents would like describe to you like all the places and, tell you the best hotels. And, that person would even know the hotel owner by name. And, they will handle everything and you just go and have your, today, even like taking a vacation is like a lot of work. Like you have to research.
It is.
You have to read all the reviews.
So much research, so much planning.
Yeah, like it's just so much work. Everything is so much work. So everybody is really, really busy. So what are we gonna do with all this work? Like, and in our work, we are even busier. Like we just have like so much stuff to do. But I think the research stuff is good because it's a good work. So I think you have to ask yourself two questions. What work should I do? And what work I shouldn't be doing? What work shouldn't I be doing? Like doing research, I think it's a work that you should do. It's good because you're learning. Thinking about your business, your work is a work that you should be doing because it's good. You're gonna come up with creative ideas. You're going to improve yourself, your company, your work. But there are work that you shouldn't be doing. Like if you keep doing the same things over and over again, like if you keep doing some manual work all the time, you shouldn't be doing that. Like one example is like HR. For example, in our company, we were spending so much time with onboarding new employees. And like from the start, someone applies to us, like they get interviewed, we give them an offer and then they have to sign all these papers. And like we need to order like their hardware. We need to, find their office space and they need to meet their body that they're going to meet on their, like we need to select that. So there's just hundreds of different things that needs to be done in an onboarding process. And here's the problem, because there are like so many moving pieces, you always make mistakes. Like you forget to send an NDA and then, you have to send it later. And then you can have problems. Like you can have legal problems because of that. Or the person who is handling onboarding is like now on vacation and this person we are not creating a good impression with our new employee. It's not looking good. But once we actually streamlined and automated our onboarding, everything became much better, and the process became much better. It became much faster. We stopped doing mistakes. Like, this is before the pandemic. We even started using like e-signatures back then, and so we started automating things, and as a result, everything became much better. And here's the good part: instead of spending our time like with the manual work, with like doing all the bureaucracy work, we are now spending our time with talking to those new employees, right? Our HR is like taking more time to talk to them, and they can meet their new coworkers. So it's just became nicer because like our HR team is not also under the pressure of handling so many things. Like we have streamlined like so much stuff on HR that now the HR team is like really work on more important stuff, that the stuff that matters, and we are making less mistakes. So I think this is a good example to like why automating things can make things much better. And I was talking about how everyone is busy, and when we automate things, instead of being busy with doing the same things over and over again, we are able to work on stuff that we should be working on, and that's why it's important to automate things.
Mm-hmm. That's a really wonderful point and an example you gave. I like how you mentioned, you're being realistic with this. You're not saying, oh, let's get time back by not doing certain work or cutting it out of our obligations, because that's not realistic. Everyone's busy. We have a lot of obligations, responsibilities. You're saying, we divide it into categories of work we should be focused on and categories of work that maybe they're more repetitive tasks, they're more laborious, and that's what we focus on automating so we can free ourselves up with that time to build meaningful relationships, think about meaningful things. And I think that's prevalent because a lot of people, well, I just need to take some stuff off my calendar, or I just need to, find a way to not have to bother with this. And that's not realistic. You're saying we still have to do all these tasks. We just need to automate them so we don't have to focus on those tasks the same way. And that's a much more realistic way, I think, to approach it, because we all have a lot of work and we're going to keep having a lot of work. Let's just manage that smarter and work smarter. And I think the HR example that you gave is a wonderful demonstration of that. So along those lines, what is the audience for this? Like, who does automation apply to? You used HR as an example, but I have a feeling that this can apply to pretty much everyone. But who would you say is the true audience for this book?
Exactly. Like it's for everyone, because everyone is saying they're like busy under so much work. They are busier than ever, as described in the shadow work. Like just everything turned into like self-service, and you have to do your own research. You have to find things out by yourself. And because of that, this book actually applies to everyone. But I think this book really applies to people who are under the weight of their busy work. Like the people who don't even have time to read this book need this book the most. But the great thing is, this book is not like it's a book that guides you. Like it's a step-by-step guide on like taking on your busy work and turning it into automation and systems. So it's going to help you with a lot of examples, like the HR example I gave, and a lot of tools and techniques that you can use. So it's not going to be like, you have to take like weeks to apply these things. It's going to be like small pieces of like freedom from busy work. Like you start taking away, gaining more free time, and then exponentially, the more you use the techniques in this book, you're gonna actually save more and more time. So it's gonna start more difficult maybe, but you're gonna start small, and you're gonna turn a small part of your busy work into automations. And this book teaches you how to like find all the tools that you may need to be able to automate your busy work. But it basically holds your hand and takes you to those, promised land. Yeah.
To the promised land. Most applicable to people who don't have time to read the book. I think that is a great way to put it. Maybe two on the nose, because it's true. The people who are drowning under busy work, they don't have time to read a book. But that's the whole point of the way you've laid it out, is you can just go chapter by chapter, just set aside 10, 15 minutes, and you can build your knowledge as you go and build upon that. And as you said, give yourself more and more time, which is the really wonderful way with how you've laid out the book. So it applies to everyone who's busy, especially people who are too busy to read the book. What are some of, without giving too much away, you've talked a little bit about the automation flywheel, but what would you say are some of the highlights, like just sort of key takeaways for people listening to the podcast, ahead of time before the release, that you feel you can share without spoiling anything?
It's a process of continuous improvement. But in this book, I also talk about something I call the automation mindset, automation first mindset. And I try to teach this mindset in this book. And there are some, steps you can take to actually have this mindset. So one of them is being impatient. Bill Gates said, I would pick a lazy person to do the hard job, because they will find a way to make it easy. So impatience is required. You don't want to be patient with doing the same things over and over again. You want to have the motivation to search for solutions for your busy work. So this is one of the things that I describe in this book, and some other things that I describe in this book is like system thinking. So the book Systems Thinking by Daniela Meadows describes how understand the systems makes a whole difference when you want to make a change, because you pull from somewhere, but it doesn't make a dent, because the system actually, like when you're trying to lose weight, right? You do all these different things, but it doesn't work because the system is actually kind of making changes, adjusting things. You go to the gym, but then you eat more. So you kind of understand. You need to understand the flow of your work, or of the system, to be able to make changes on that. So that's why in this book I described like how you need to understand workflows and how you need to divide and conquer them. And system thinking is another one. I think priorities are also important. You want to make sure that you really prioritize what you care about, what you should be spending your time on, and what you shouldn't be spending your time on, and how much time you're spending with stuff that you shouldn't be spending on. So if you can prioritize those things, you will be able to pick the work that should be automated first in a better way. So there are a lot of ideas like this in this book to help you have this automation first mindset, so that you will be able to tackle using the framework I describe in the book.
Those are some great points and takeaways, which really just act as a teaser to all the great ideas that you do cover in the book. But obviously the system thinking, the prioritization, and even, impatience is a virtue in its own right when you think about it. So those are all wonderful glimpses of the contents of the book that, of course, we're encouraging everyone to check out as soon as they can. Just to sort of kind of wrap things up here, why write this now? Like, why is this timely? Why is 2023 the year that you said, okay, this is when I need to release this book? You've been with Jotform. It's been around 17 years now. Why is now the time?
Such a great question. There are 3 revolutions going on right now that we are just right in the middle of these revolutions. And the first one is software is eating the world. This was coined by Mark Anderson, and he's a VC, he's an investor, but he was also like one of the people who developed the first browser. And software is eating the world because everything is turning into software. Like from your vacuum cleaner to your car, self-driving car, even your dashboard in your car, it's like everything is turning into software, because software provides so much flexibility, so much value, so much additional value without too much, additional price on things. So software is really taking over the world. So this is really important because this applies to everything we do. Like, instead of going to the travel agency, we go to an online website and then we research all these, places and hotels. So the second revolution going on is the AI revolution. This is like really hot right now. Like so many things are coming out right now. Like GPT-4 just came out, and like ChatGPT. And like, I'm not using Google now. Like I'm going to ChatGPT to ask questions, and then it gives it. I don't even have to like read the results in Google. I just, read the answers from ChatGPT, and they're perfect. So it's and the self-driving cars and everything. So that's the second revolution. The third revolution is not that visible. Like many people are not aware of it, and it's also kind of related to software eating the world, which is the no-code revolution. No-code revolution is software that allows you to program your own products. Like Jotform is a good example, because people don't just use Jotform. They go to Jotform when they need to create a form. They use like drag and drop tool to create their questions. They customize their emails. They create as many emails as they want. They create their PDF files like by customizing data, and then they transfer the data to other services like CRMs or like other products using tools like Zapier or Jotform's own integrations. But basically, there are tools like Jotform that allow you to design your own products for your own work. So this is huge, because now people can able to do things on their own. So these three revolutions: software is eating the world, AI, and no code. So all these things are happening, but people are not really adopting these things. Like they're looking at all these things happening, but they're just watching them happen. And it's like they're in this middle of this ocean, but they're dying from thirst. So in this book, I try to actually teach how to use these tools, how to use the no-code tools, how to use AI, how to use all these cloud-based software that are available to automate their work, because they cannot just use those software. They have to first kind of they need to first understand their businesses, their work. They need to define their work, divide and conquer their busy work into workflows, and then they are able to design and implement these automations using these like no-code products. And I describe how to
Flywheel.
research these no-code products, like where to research them, like where to find, like there are like tens of thousands of products, but you need them, but you are not aware of them. How can you find them? There are actually ways to find them. And how do you pick them? Like if you need a product to do something, how do you pick the best one? So I try to also teach how to do this in step-by-step fashion in the book. So that I think, so yeah, that's why this is a perfect time, because we are all drowning in busy work and we have the answers, but we need to learn how to use those answers, how to apply those solutions. And, I try to teach how to do that in my book.
Absolutely. Yeah, it couldn't be a better time, as you mentioned, with this convergence of software, AI, no code. The answers are almost overwhelming. There's so many answers out there now. As we've said, middle of the ocean, dying from thirst. There are so many solutions out there. To even know where to start can be crippling. Decision paralysis, I think, for a lot of people. They don't know. I just don't even know where to start. This book gives you the place to start and the tools to begin the journey of harnessing these things, because there are so many softwares and AI programs and no-code tools out there now. You have to be able to take the first step into that world to actually be able to channel your own work more productively. And so I couldn't agree more that it's the perfect time, given everything going on in the climate that we're seeing now. So kind of bringing this all home, like I mentioned, if you had to summarize, one final statement, what are you ultimately hoping for people to get out? What is the end goal of Automate Your Busywork that you're hoping people get out of it?
I want them to do less, achieve more, and save their brain for the good stuff. And that's the subtitle of my book.
I was just gonna say, I think I read that somewhere before, and it's out there. There's no hidden messages here. That's literally just what it is. Save your brain for the big stuff. Do less and achieve more. I love it. I think I might have spoiled this a little bit at the beginning, but do you want to just clarify when the book is coming out and how people can find it?
Sure. It's coming out on May 16, and you can pre-order it now from Amazon, from Barnes & Noble, and many other places online, and so that you can get it early and start automating your busy work.
Right, and there's no time like the present to start on that journey. I couldn't agree more. We'll have links to the pre-order link and some of these other resources that you mentioned down below. Aytekin, it's really wonderful that you were able to join us. Thank you for taking the time. Is there anything else you want to cover or mention or leave us with that we missed today?
Sure. So I started my business 17 years ago, and that's a huge number. Like, I'm always surprised. Like, it feels like yesterday. Like, and I was a kid in my 20s back then, and now I'm 45, and I have my own kids, 3 kids. So it's been a long time. So I'm thinking, I must have some wisdom and experience, hopefully.
Absolutely.
And I tried to share all the experiences, all the wisdom I learned by making like so many mistakes during these 17 years and helping thousands of people automate their busy work personally, and millions of people who used our product over the years and still use our product. And I hope that this book is going to be another way I provide help to others, and I'm really excited about it. And I want to thank you for this great podcast. I love it.
Absolutely.
And I keep watching them, and keep up the great work.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you so much again for coming on today. This has been really great to hear all about. Automate Your Busywork is available, like you mentioned, May 16. You can pre-order it now. Automation Flywheel is real. You've lived this book, and everything that you talk about in this book can be directly applied to so many of our lives and our work. I think it's really powerful, and it can do a lot of good impact out there. So everybody who's listening should pre-order if you can, or check it out whenever and wherever you're able to. And we'll leave you with that for now. Thank you, Aytekin, once again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you next time.